So, and another blow to consumers. Delta Airlines announced in an investor call the other day that they're going to continue expanding a pilot program they had. They were using AI to start providing dynamic fares. So what that means is that instead of when you go to Delta Airlines, you find a flight, there is no more static fare. They were using AI in order to change the price dynamically based on things like region, browser, different things that a company would consider, different things that the algorithm would consider. So it was so successful that even though they were only using this in 3% of their bookings, they ended up turning a profit last quarter. So it was so successful that they're going to continue expanding the program. They'd like to get it up to 20%, with goals of probably getting it much higher. So just when you thought the consumer, which is already dealing with tons of problems, credit card debt, record high credit card debt, cars that are unaffordable, now airline flights will probably start getting that way soon enough. You know, we all like our discounted tickets, Expedia, Priceline.com, all those other ones. Well, you know, we can still use them right now. But analysts are saying that they may get it to a point where you'll eventually have to log in directly to the airline's website in order to book the ticket from them. So there may still be discounted tickets available, but that number will probably decrease, and more of the tickets will be sold through their own platform or their own app. And you know, once you have your app, they'll probably force you to download an app. And once you have an app on your phone, well, the app is basically just studying all of your behavior anyway. So you can imagine how that information will be used. So Delta announced it in their investor call, and you know, good on them. They're the first to mention it or acknowledge that what they're doing. But you can imagine most of the other airlines are probably doing the same thing, because why wouldn't they? When you're trying to turn a profit, when you're trying to make as much money as you can for your shareholders, you're going to try to you have to stay ahead of the competition. So if all the competition is going to use dynamic pricing, then you'd be a fool not to as well. So for consumers, that spells bad news, of course, because, you know, I think discounted airline tickets, a lot of people rely on them. Not all of us, but they do make airline travel a lot more reasonable for most people. And pretty soon that's not going to be the thing. So, you know, we have Klarna, we have people paying in installments for meals. Pretty soon airline travel is probably going to get that way, right? That's probably the next logical evolution. I think the next logical evolution is that we're all going to have to start buying everything in our lives and paying for it in installments. Won't that be fun? So airlines are doing this dynamic pricing. We're not going to be able to stay ahead. And isn't airline travel so interesting? Because it's not like airline travel has improved over the past 20 years. In fact, I'd say it's probably the exact opposite. I'd say it's gotten worse. When I was younger, travel on an airline used to be such a privilege. It was clean. People conducted themselves appropriately. There were no fights. Like no fights at all, which is an odd thing to see now. There are people getting knocked out at the check-in counter. What sort of world are we living in? And not just that, then even on the flight itself, people are causing issues. People are getting into fights. People are having breakdowns, or people are having main character syndrome, where they grab the microphone, they start doing a little performance, doing a little song. People have lost their minds, and airline travel is such a gamble. But yet we're going to get to start paying a premium for all of that. Isn't that fun? You know, a couple years back, they started talking about AI and how AI was going to be such a boon to us all. But I think you have to start seeing the news for what it really is. What they meant by that, what they meant by AI is going to be the next big thing. They meant for corporations, not for us. Because think about it, on the consumer side, what has AI done for us exactly? Sure, you have your chat GPTs, your chat bots. I'm sure you can use them to some sort of benefit. I'm not sure how many people are making real money using the AI that we have available to us now, but sure. Maybe you're making faceless YouTube videos. Maybe you're using AI to write terrible books about nothing. Sure, maybe there are people who are turning a profit. I'm sure there are people who are more creative than I am and have ideas on how to con money out of people. Sure, maybe some people are able to bring benefit using the consumer options that we have available now. But for the most part, I'd say the only AI successes seem to be on the corporate side. AI can do a lot of first level jobs. It can do a lot of coding and programming. So Google has laid people off, Amazon's laid people off. People are getting laid off. IBM, left and right, people are getting laid off because you no longer need the human capital when you have AI to supplement it, right? Now, who's that a boon to? Sure, you have a couple of employees remaining, but I doubt those employees are getting big raises. I think now they're just worried about keeping their jobs, anyone who's left. So they'll make them do as much work as possible to squeeze as much work for them out as possible. So we're not winning on that side. And we have AI to create dynamic pricing, to study and model our behavior, probably better than the algorithms. Well, that's the thing, right? So this AI that's using this, it's basically using an algorithm to figure out your shopping patterns, your demographics, things of that nature. That's basically what they've been trying to do for the longest time with all of these algorithms and trying to learn our patterns, learn our behavior. Can you imagine? Might start getting put everywhere. Maybe there are no longer any movie theaters. Well, hopefully they don't try to do it. I could see a world where movie theaters try to do it if movie theaters were still doing gangbusters like they used to, but they don't. So maybe it'll work for them. But you can imagine like shopping, going out shopping, using different algorithms to change the price based on who you are, where you're shopping, what time you're shopping. It doesn't seem too far away. It doesn't seem far-fetched given what they can already do now with the capabilities. So, I don't know. I'm not feeling great about AI and what it's doing for the rest of us. I think for regular folks, it's really going to mess them up. If you're like me, you know, you have advanced degrees. Sure, we might be able to stave it off for a little bit, but I think, you know, I just think like some of the people that lost their jobs, we're all kind of on the same boat. Maybe they're already on the ship, you know, since they've already lost their jobs. But the rest of us, we're kind of just on the dock and we're queuing. We're just waiting for our turn to hop onto that ship, because AI is going to come from most jobs. I'll bring up more articles on this, but I have been doing the research and things are not looking good. Just unrelated to any of this, but they successfully used an AI surgeon to accomplish a gallbladder surgery the other day. So, just FYI, your job is probably not as complex as surgery, and surgery may soon go the way of the dodo bird. So, just remember that. Just think about that. Keep that in mind going forward, and when you start planning for your future. I think all of these things are going to be important. Anyhow, there's a bit of traffic here. I'm going to cross the street. But you let me know. What do you guys think? Are you happy about this dynamic pricing and the way AI is being used against us? Are you happy about it? Do you not care? Maybe some people just don't care. I don't know. I care. I hate when companies try to squeeze as much money as possible out of consumers, and they don't provide anything for that. You know, it's not like the quality has decreased. Quality is decreasing. Do you agree that the quality of airline travel has decreased, and it makes no sense for them to try to squeeze as much money out of consumers as possible? Stumbled on my words a little bit there. You let me know in the comments what you all are thinking. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.